Module 3, Stop-Motion Animation. Overview of stop-motion animation. Stop-motion animation is a technique that involves creating the illusion of motion by manipulating physical objects or characters frame by frame and capturing them with a camera. Each frame is a photograph of the scene, and when the frames are played back in sequence, they create the illusion of movement. Stop-motion animation has a long history and has been used in various forms for over a century. There are several different types of stop-motion animation techniques, including 1. Claymation. Claymation, also known as clay animation, involves using clay or other moldable materials to create characters or objects that are manipulated and posed in different positions to create animation. The clay is reshaped and photographed frame by frame to create the illusion of movement. Popular examples of claymation include Wallace and Gromit and Chicken Run. 2. Puppet animation. Puppet animation involves using puppets, typically made from foam, fabric, or other materials, as the main characters in the animation. The puppets are moved and posed in different positions, and each frame is photographed to create the animation. Popular examples of puppet animation include The Nightmare Before Christmas and Coraline. 3. Cutout animation. Cutout animation involves using flat, two-dimensional characters or objects that are cut out from paper, cardstock, or other materials, and manipulated to create animation. The cutouts are moved and repositioned frame by frame, and each frame is photographed to create the animation. Popular examples of cutout animation include South Park and Monty Python's Flying Circus. 4. Object animation. Object animation involves using physical objects, such as toys, props, or everyday objects, as the main characters or objects in the animation. The objects are moved and posed to create animation, and each frame is photographed to create the illusion of movement. Popular examples of object animation include Fantastic Mr. Fox and the Lego Movie. Stop-motion animation requires meticulous attention to detail and patience, as animators need to carefully position and manipulate the physical objects or characters for each frame. It also involves other aspects of traditional animation principles, such as timing, spacing, and staging, to create smooth and believable motion. Stop-motion animation can be time-consuming and labor-intensive, but it offers a unique and charming aesthetic that has captivated audiences for decades. With advancements in technology, stop-motion animation can also be combined with other techniques, such as digital effects or compositing, to create even more complex and visually stunning animations. Creating armatures and puppets. Armatures and puppets are important elements in stop-motion animation as they provide the structure and form for the characters or objects that will be animated. Here's an overview of how armatures and puppets are created for stop-motion animation. 1. Armatures. Armatures are the internal skeleton or framework used to support and pose the characters or objects in stop-motion animation. They are typically made from metal, wire, or plastic and are used to provide stability and mobility to the puppets. Armatures are constructed with joints that allow for movement, such as ball and socket joints or hinge joints, which are strategically placed to mimic the natural range of motion of the character or object being animated. Creating armatures usually involves designing and constructing the skeletal structure based on the design of the character or object. This can involve bending and shaping metal wires or rods, attaching joints, and securing them in place with epoxy or other adhesives. The armature is then covered with padding or foam to provide a base for the puppet's outer layer, such as clay, fabric, or other materials, to be attached. 2. Puppets. Puppets are the outer layer or shell of the characters or objects in stop-motion animation. They are typically made from various materials, depending on the desired look and feel of the character or object. Common materials used for puppets include foam, fabric, clay, silicone, or a combination of different materials. Creating puppets usually involves sculpting or building the outer layer based on the design of the character or object. For foam or fabric puppets, the material is typically cut and sewn or glued together to create the desired shape and form. For clay or silicone puppets, the material is sculpted and molded to create the desired details and features. Once the outer layer is created, it is attached to the armature, and the armature is used to pose and manipulate the puppet for each frame of the animation. The armature provides the stability and mobility needed to create smooth and realistic movements, while the puppet's outer layer provides the visual appearance of the character or object. Creating armatures and puppets for stop-motion animation requires a combination of artistic skills, technical expertise, and attention to detail. It's important to carefully plan and design the armature and puppet to ensure they are capable of achieving the desired movements and poses for the animation. Proper construction techniques and materials are also crucial to ensure the durability and longevity of the armature and puppet during the animation process. Using lighting and camera techniques. Lighting and camera techniques play a crucial role in stop-motion animation, as they contribute to the overall visual aesthetic and storytelling of the animation. Here are some key considerations when using lighting and camera techniques in stop-motion animation. 1. Lighting. Lighting is essential in creating the mood, atmosphere, and visual appeal of a stop-motion animation. Proper lighting can enhance the details, textures, and colors of the characters or objects, as well as create shadows, highlights, and depth. Natural lighting. Natural lighting can be used to create a realistic or natural look in stop-motion animation. It involves using natural light sources, such as sunlight or practical lights, to illuminate the scene. The intensity, direction, and color of the natural light can be controlled by positioning the animation set and characters accordingly. Artificial lighting. Artificial lighting, such as studio lights or LED lights, can provide more control over the lighting in stop-motion animation. They can be positioned and adjusted to create specific lighting effects, such as key lighting, fill lighting, and backlighting, to achieve the desired look and mood of the animation. 2. Camera techniques. Camera techniques in stop-motion animation are similar to those used in live-action filmmaking and can greatly impact the storytelling and visual dynamics of the animation. Framing and composition. Framing and composition involve carefully selecting and positioning the camera to capture the desired shot or scene. This includes the placement of the characters or objects in the frame, the use of foreground and background elements, and the overall composition of the shot. Proper framing and composition can create visual interest, guide the viewer's eye, and convey the intended emotions or story. Camera movement. Camera movement can add dynamic and cinematic effects to stop-motion animation. This can include camera pans, tilts, dollies, or tracking shots, which can create a sense of movement, depth, and perspective in the animation. Camera movement can also be used to emphasize certain actions or details in the scene. Focus and depth of field. Focus and depth of field refer to the sharpness or blurriness of the image in relation to the distance from the camera. They can be used to draw attention to specific characters or objects, create a sense of depth, and convey the intended mood or atmosphere. Selective focus and depth of field can be achieved by adjusting the camera's focal length, aperture, and focus settings. 3. Post-production. After capturing the stop-motion animation frames, post-production techniques can further enhance the lighting and camera effects through editing and compositing. Color grading. Color grading involves adjusting the colors, tones, and contrasts of the animation frames to create a specific mood or visual style. This can be done using digital software or filters to achieve the desired color palette and look. Special effects. Special effects, such as visual effects or compositing, can be added in post-production to enhance the lighting or camera effects. This can include adding glows, lens flares, or other visual elements to create a more cinematic or stylized look. Using lighting and camera techniques in stop-motion animation requires careful planning, experimentation, and attention to detail. It's important to consider the mood, atmosphere, and storytelling of the animation when using lighting and camera techniques to create visually appealing and compelling stop-motion animations. Applying timing and spacing to create effective animation. Timing and spacing are fundamental principles in animation that contribute to the overall movement and rhythm of a character or object, and are critical in creating effective and believable animation. Here's an overview of how timing and spacing can be applied to create effective animation. 1. Timing. Timing refers to the speed or pace of an animation and how objects or characters move in relation to each other and the environment. It involves determining the appropriate timing for different actions, gestures, and poses to convey the desired emotions, weight, and impact. Slow timing. Slow timing is used for actions that require more weight or emphasis, such as a character lifting a heavy object or landing after a jump. Slow timing can create a sense of weight, gravity, and impact, and can be used to convey strength, power, or tension. Fast timing. Fast timing is used for actions that are quick, snappy, or energetic, such as a character running, punching, or reacting to a sudden event. Fast timing can create a sense of speed, agility, and excitement, and can be used to convey urgency, surprise, or humor. Varying timing. Varying timing involves using a combination of slow and fast timing for different actions or sequences to create contrast and add visual interest. This can help to create a dynamic and engaging animation that captures the viewer's attention. 2. Spacing. Spacing refers to the placement and distribution of frames or poses in an animation, and how the character or object moves in relation to the frames or poses. It involves determining the appropriate spacing to create smooth and natural movement, and to convey the desired motion and direction. Even spacing. Even spacing involves evenly distributing the frames or poses in an animation, resulting in a smooth and consistent movement. Even spacing is often used for actions that require a natural and fluid motion, such as a character walking or waving. Uneven spacing. Uneven spacing involves varying the distance between frames or poses in an animation, resulting in irregular or exaggerated movement. Uneven spacing can be used to create specific animation effects, such as anticipation, exaggeration, or impact. For example, a character preparing to jump might have more frames closer together to create anticipation, while the frames during the jump might be spaced further apart to create a sense of speed and impact. Keyframes and in-betweens. Keyframes are the main poses or frames that define the start and end points of an action, while in-betweens are the frames that fill the gaps between keyframes to create smooth motion. Proper placement and spacing of keyframes and in-betweens are crucial in creating effective animation with a sense of weight, momentum, and flow. 3. Easing in and out. Easing in and out involves starting and ending an action with slower movement, and gradually accelerating or decelerating in the middle. This creates a more natural and appealing motion, as objects or characters rarely start or stop abruptly in the real world. Easing in and out can add realism, smoothness, and flow to an animation, and help to create a sense of weight, gravity, and impact. 4. Exaggeration. Exaggeration is a technique used in animation to enhance the expressiveness and impact of an action or emotion. It involves pushing the timing and spacing beyond realistic limits to create a more stylized, dynamic, or humorous effect. Exaggeration can be used to emphasize emotions, actions, or gestures, and add appeal, excitement, or humor to an animation. Timing and spacing are fundamental principles in animation that require careful observation, experimentation, and practice to master. When applied effectively, timing and spacing can bring life, personality, and impact to animated characters or objects, and create compelling and engaging animations.
Thanks for watching. For more information, like, comment, and subscribe our channel.